Thank you. So now we're going to talk about some strategies that can help. As I mentioned before, strategies can be common and can support many people across the board, and other times, sometimes strategies need to be a little more unique and a little more specific based on who you are and where you're coming from. Knowing our triggers are really helpful as it helps us figure out what we need to do to feel better or to feel calmer. So, this is where identifying your triggers is really important, because when you identify what those are, you can then figure out what are the strategies that you can try in that exact situation where that trigger occurred. So we're going to walk through a couple of the examples, and we have some pictures around this slide, as well as some different little phrases, and some of them you may look at and laugh at and be like, no way, never, I wouldn't do that. Or other ones you'd be like, oh, I already do that, it doesn't help, and that's okay. There's different things here for everybody. So two of the things I wanted to mention that I believe, coming from clinical counseling background, are supportive and helpful for everyone is mindfulness and breathing. And mindfulness is really important, because mindfulness is not some sit on a cushion and imagine butterflies or something like that. Mindfulness is actually just being aware of what's going on for you.
Mhm.
And the second part is, once you're aware of what's going on for you, doing your best to not judge that, but just allow it to go on for a bit. Because sometimes that's all we need. We don't need another voice coming in and then judging ourselves for what's going on, or how big something's going on, or how long it's going on for. So, mindfulness is being aware of what's going on and then not judging that for ourselves, just cutting ourselves a little slack. That's really what mindfulness is. So, in the case of like anxiety, being mindful would be pausing for a moment, noticing you're starting to feel that anxiety, maybe noticing where are you feeling that, and just going, whoa, I am feeling anxious right now. Yeah, I am feeling anxious right now. Don't follow it up with and but and if I and all of these other things. Just notice that you're feeling that, and just take a breath and be like, yes, I am feeling anxious. And kind of drop your shoulders to take your guard down, instead of I'm feeling anxiety and now, as though you need to defend and prepare. Just be mindful of what it is that you are feeling and just notice that. And so that mindfulness piece is something that we can all do. We can teach our kids that. We can teach our youth and teens that. We can employ that. We can support our parents and our grandparents with learning that of, oh, what's going on for you? Oh, wow, this is going on for you. And that's the end of mindfulness, just that little bit. And whether you do it over and over and over, that's fine. All of a sudden, look, you've accomplished sitting on the cushion of mindfulness for 5 minutes by doing the mindful awareness just for several times. So, um, that's something that can be supportive for everybody. The other piece is breathing. And the breathing is connected to some of the mindfulness. But there's something very specific around breathing and doing it in a way that can support regulating, calming your body down. And that is that whether it's anxiety or it's another emotion that gets really big, once you are aware of that emotion, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. So, not breathing in and out through your nose, or in and out through your mouth, or in through your mouth and out through your nose. It's very specific. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. This actually can physiologically help lower your heart rate, which when we feel a really big emotion, our heart rate right away goes up because we are feeling a big emotion in a big way. So this is especially useful for anxiety because immediately anxiety comes and there's all kinds of worry and fear, and there's an escalation of that stressor in our body and our heart rate goes up. So being able to help ourselves lower our heart rate, we're not dealing with the thing that's causing anxiety or what that was. What we're doing is we're helping ourselves in that very second just calm our heart, calm our body. If any of you were on our webinar from last week, we saw that you have to have yourself regulated before you can move to the next part of your brain, which allows you to start thinking, right? And then after you start thinking, then you're able to communicate. But you can't do any of those things if you haven't been able to like settle and calm yourself. So breathing is a strategy for anxiety and for many other emotions that you can use to help settle yourself in a really quick way. Okay, so those are some of the things that can be used for like everybody. And then we have some other stuff here, creating something. So building something with Lego or recycled toilet paper and cereal boxes, making a craft, doing a project, all of those things where you're being creative, that uses a different side of your brain, not the thinking, focus on the stress, feel what's happening part of your brain. It uses the other side that kind of starts to be a little bit freer and roam. And creativity is a really important thing for helping us get to that side of our brain, the right side of our brain, for being calmer and being a little more flexible, a little less rigid, a little more okay. So anything that is creative and innovative, coloring, drawing, those things all are helpful. And I remember once I was told that when you like color and draw or create, it's not important that you have a plan of what you're doing or that you do it right. It's just important that you allow yourself to do it. So if coloring means coloring circles and scribbles on a page and just allowing your hand to just do that, that's actually really helpful and supportive. And you might notice that you might start to feel a little anxious because it's not neat or it's not making sense. And that's part of employing mindfulness of, wow, I'm noticing I need to stay in the lines, but really it doesn't matter if I stay in the lines. I just need to color right now. And just allowing yourself some of that freedom. Those can be little tiny ways of actually practicing allowing yourself to do things like that. We have journaling down here as well. Sometimes that's very helpful for people, but as I've mentioned before, some of these things are a lot more creative side. They're not using that part of your brain that's verbal word side. We do want to try and move away from that to allow your body to feel through the anxiety, not in a word sort of a way, because that goes back to the left side of your brain, and we want to use the right side of your brain to help settle. So, but if journaling works for you, then journal. Sometimes people journal and they write down what's creating anxiety for them, and then they can close it because they can leave it on the page in there and they don't have to carry it anymore. And that can be helpful. Getting your body moving, super important to whatever way that you can, whether that's your fingers and doing circles and moving your hand or tapping, or doing some just slow movement stretches, exercises. Those are super helpful. Connecting with a pet or with a safe person or a close friend, holding an object that's comforting to you. Sometimes you might have that special shirt, you love the feeling of it, or those pants, you love it, or this pillow, or that house coat, or this rock, whatever those things are. Sometimes just holding something that is something that kind of can pull you and ground you to being in that present moment, not letting the anxiety come and take you away, but using that object to kind of hold you back down to the ground, that you are actually alive in that moment. You can feel your feet on the floor. You can feel your butt sitting on the bed or on the chair. Oh, my hand is touching this thing. Those are all things that help calm us for anxious moments. And of course, we have like getting hugged using weighted blankets and doing something rhythmic. So again, try and move away from the word side of listening to music that has words and pick music that doesn't have words, but you can pick something that has rhythms and beats. That is actually really good for your body and your brain to help regulate and settle. And so these are all examples of some strategies that can work to help with anxiety. Maybe it gives you an idea. Go ahead and try some of them. I encourage you, be brave, try some of them. If they even seem weird or odd, give it a try, practice it a couple times, and then maybe experiment with what other things might be helpful for you. Sometimes having tea. And again, you can employ mindfulness with tea. Notice your hand is holding the cup of tea and you can feel that it's warm. You can smell the aroma of the tea and it's nice, you like it. You drink the tea, you can taste the flavor of the tea and you can feel it's warm going down your throat. All of a sudden, you're engaging all of your senses to connect you again back to the present moment of where you are to help settle. So, those are some examples of strategies that can help you. I encourage you to think of some of those, think of other ones for yourself, and give them a try.
My personal favorite is Connect with Pet. In the school environment that I work with, we are lucky enough to be able to bring our dogs in, and they make amazing therapy dogs. Just being able to go and give them a cuddle, they always seem to be so in tune with what's going on with us as humans. So I'm glad that that's there.